some of these round 2 matchups.
We already saw a little bit about what Boston and Washington is going to be like.
Yeah.
Washington came out like gangbusters.
Yeah.
And Boston finished
like gangbusters. Yes, they did. So the question is, I thought, and I ain't gonna say I thought, Bill and Wall started playing at a very high level together. They figured some things out, and they had Washington playing at a very high level. I actually picked Washington to go to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
Boston obviously has something to say about that. I mean, again, like we said before in the last episode, Boston does a really, really good job chemistry-wise. Because you look at them, and like I say, not so much that they know name, but really the biggest name on the team is Isaiah Thomas.
Right.
The next biggest pickup they had was Al Horford.
Right.
After that, you know those guys' names, but when you look at them, they like...
You ain't lining up to say, I want to root for that guy. You're not buying Jay Crowder's jersey.
Not buying Jay Crowder. I personally, I like Avery a lot.
Love Avery Bradley.
Love Avery Bradley.
I'm not paying the ticket to go see Avery Bradley.
We're not doing that. They come to the AT&T Center. I'm not running to go see the Celtics, but I will give props where props is due. Brad Stevens got them boys playing basketball.
Absolutely.
And Washington is going to have to. They're going to get exploited. And I don't know how they get exploited by, I guess, good basketball. Bill and Wall can do whatever, but the rest of the team is going to have to.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that I saw today was because before the game I was like, look, Wizards in 5 because Boston. I thought Boston got away with Rajon Rondo getting hurt because they was on the ropes bad.
Was on the ropes bad.
So I was like, the way that Washington's played all season, I thought that Boston could be in trouble. But one of the things that happened early in the first, Markieff Morris got hurt, ankle injury, and they say it's pretty severe. He said he gonna play. Trainer said, bro, your ankle is not okay.
It's warm and gooey. Like, that ain't what you want.
I think that they need him really because he does provide when he's focused and when he's playing. He provides some really good, solid offensive contribution.
Right, on the front court, right.
But when you got to go to Oubre and then you got to play some of these other guys, big men, like Otto Porter is a good player. I don't want to have to play Otto Porter extended minutes because it's just not it's not going to fit.
Right.
Gortat was big today, and if Gortat is able to still dominate the paint like he did early on, that's a good thing. But they're gonna miss Markieff if he can't play in game 2, and if he's not gonna be more than 90% moving forward.
Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. Now we had in the West a series that, or was it the only one that went to Game 7?
Yeah.
We had that kind of get sealed up today.
Yeah.
And the 5th seeded Utah Jazz took out the Clippers. Now, mind you, Blake Griffin was hurt.
It don't matter.
It don't matter. More so about a preview of Utah going to play Golden State or anything like that. My thing is that, like you said, bring out the dynamite.
Yeah.
For the Clippers. It's time to blow it up.
It's a wrap for them.
We blow the top off that brother, please.
We've speculated. There's a lot of chatter about CP3 to the Spurs. And
I like it.
What you gonna do with Blake Griffin? He got a player option. Oh, he should go back to OKC. Russ doesn't want that. Russell Westbrook. I mean, the book is out on Griffin. Like, I just don't. Yeah. He's not explosive like he used to be. He's definitely on the all Mr. Glass team. And as good as he is when he's healthy, facilitating, just another scorer. I mean, I can't guarantee that this guy's going to play more than 50 games.
Does Doc Rivers lose his job?
Man, their owner got a lot of money.
He got big bread. Long money. Got money longer than throwing smoke money.
And not that Doc's made the best decisions, but you almost can't fully blame Doc.
This is true.
I mean, like, people got on him about the money they gave to Austin Rivers. Oh, look, he giving his son a solid. But Austin Rivers balled out. Even when Austin Rivers came back, because he was hurt coming into the playoffs.
Right.
When he got in, I mean, he does his job.
Right. I never was one of these people that blamed Doc. Do I think that the Clippers need to be blown up? Yeah, they could have did it a year ago. They could have did it 2 years ago.
That's what I would have done.
But I don't blame Doc for resting with that core, because if you leave the season and you're coming into the season and you're looking at Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, DeAndre Jordan, Crawford coming off the bench, why would you want to bust that up? And it ain't like you got replacements just ready to go. You know, like everybody ain't hitting free agency. Yeah, he got long money, but what money is freed up? But again, you're staring that solid core right in the face. It's hard to turn away from that. I don't blame him for that. But in that same breath, I will say that triage in Clipperland, it's done.
One of those people, and not even DeAndre. I mean, the reality is either Paul or Griffin has to go.
Yes.
Paul doesn't like Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin can't stay healthy. You need somebody to be able to occupy some space on the floor so that DeAndre can do what he does, which is catch lobs. Outside of that, he's mute on offense. And if he's not catching lobs, he's not doing anything to defend the rim or grab rebounds. But it's just a reality. When Rudy Gobert came back in that series, the lobs went away. When the lobs go away, it was much harder for even the game 6 where DeAndre had a high double-double. Like, that was one game.
Right.
I mean, that
was one game.
ISO Joe was killing them. And this is not an indictment on Joe Johnson. Joe Johnson got bought out from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Went and played with Utah. We ain't heard from ISO Joe at all season. We get to the playoffs and ISO Joe's closing games against the Clippers. I'm just saying, like, big men on them, they can't do nothing with them. Small guys on them, they can't do nothing. We talking about Joe Johnson. Like,
hey, look, Old Man Rivers still got some Old Man game.
ISO Joe can't close games against you and you beat the elite team.
No, that's the difference. Yeah, you're right. If you're a team and you're letting Joe Johnson close you out of games, that's a problem. That's a problem. You should have somebody that can actively defend, especially the way that they tout Bamute, however you say his name.
Bamute.
He a free agent too, whatever. He's as much as they big him up as being a defensive stopper all season, he should have been able to guard ISO Joe.
Yeah,
I mean,
so much for that. Jesus. I mean, you saw those games. Like, it didn't matter who was on him. They would run that high screen, and they would get the switch that they wanted, and he would go to work. I'm sitting there like, this is turn back the clock. I
was sitting there thinking to myself, I was like, was there a point in time where, because a lot of people don't know it, Joe Johnson came in the league, I think his first team was the Celtics. He might have played with Paul Pierce.
Yeah. I mean, he played at Phoenix and big and like when we heard, and it's like as soon as we heard of Joe Johnson in Phoenix, he was gone.
And that's when he went to Atlanta?
Yeah.
And then he took all of Atlanta's money.
He took money Joe in Atlanta with
he took all the money. And then thought we was taking his exit contract when he went to Brooklyn.
Right. All right, look.
And then he got a resurgence with the Utah Jazz.
Shout out to Joe Johnson.
Play them notes, ISO Joe. Hit them notes and them baskets and send them Clippers home with their... No. But yeah.
Here's what we do know, though. ISO Joe, you're not finna take over games against Golden State.
No.
So, as much as I like Utah, I like the fact that they can grind it out. And they do have Gobert, and that's one of Golden State's gigantic weaknesses. It's just... being able to rebound consistently against guys who are tall and who rebound.
So, and I'm glad you said that. Not to cut you off, but I'm glad you said that because now I'm wondering, is that a matchup that I'm willing to see? What is Draymond gonna do with Rudy Gobert?
Well, nothing. like he's not going to do anything with him necessarily, but Rudy Gobert also isn't Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He's not Elijah Wan. Like that's not how the offense works.
Right.
The better question is, what is Utah going to do with Durant?
Utah's not going to do it. Because who go guard Durant?
Gordon Hayward?
That's what I'm thinking. No. Him or his head do it. No. Boris got too much gray in his beard.
George Hill. Okay, George Hill's gonna guard Curry.
Too little. Right. And he too...
But you gonna leave Rodney Hood on Klay Thompson?
It's not going to be... I thought the Portland series was ugly. This one may be uglier.
Nah, they gonna do better than Portland. Like I said, when you got Dan Rue playing on the Portland squad, like, shout out to Alec Crabbe. Nah, I don't anticipate. I don't anticipate the Golden State series being that long. But I wouldn't be surprised if they stretch it to 6. You know, it all depends on what Golden State you see.
Is Durant playing? If it goes 5 games, I'll be surprised. I'm not saying it's going to be a sweep, but it is definitely not going. Because, unfortunately, what happens is that I was watching that Clipper game today. And I was looking at Gordon Hayward, and I was like, man, that dude's come some way. Like, he's really a bona fide. Like, I didn't know if he was worth the money. He's worth the money. He's still, all NBA players, superstars are overpaid.
He got a grown man haircut now. That's why.
And man, that haircut crazy. Man. I was wondering how he stayed up the whole game. Because I mean, it was still.
It's a lot of product.
Right. He sweated his eyes.
Things we don't know about.
But he earns his money, and he's good. But then what I think we're gonna see is that. Just like I was surprised, like, oh man, Jazz gonna end up being the 4th or 5th seed in the West. Yeah. Then Golden State's gonna remind us, who they really are, and that's what I think is gonna happen because it's gonna be an onslaught. And I mean, when you play against something that I learned when you play against the Golden State Warriors, even if they lag on defense, you can't miss no buckets on offense because they gonna score, and that's where that gap come from. And then if you missing, and if they want to play some defense, then that's when they be getting outrageous. And you look up and you be like, when did the league get up to 25 points? Yeah, that's what happens.
It's not going to be enough offense for Utah.
Not at all.
Unfortunately, it's not going to be enough offense. It'll be close. It may be most of the games if Golden State don't come out shooting everything in the hole like their closeout game against Portland, that last game. I was like, dang, Portland, y'all just not going to show up at all. You're going to lay down.
At all.
But I mean, every shot that Golden State put up, it was going in.
Literally,
seemed like
in the ocean. And see, when you Utah and when you when your bench rotation is like DL, I guess Favors come off the bench too.
Yeah, Favors comes off the bench now. I think they had DL starting.
That's a hit. That's a small hit, big miss with Favors. He had a hit game today. But then when you got people like Dante Exum coming off the bench, it's like
you're not coming off the bench with offense
at all. And that's where the problem's going to be. Golden State comes in with McCaw.
Yeah.
I think the other little guard, Clark. And even who else?
And when JaVale get in there, JaVale been balling.
Okay, I want y'all to listen to me. I want y'all to hear me. I want y'all to hear me. He is the Shaqtin' a Fool king. But let me tell you something. If Draymond Green is on the court with JaVale McGee, he is minimum going to catch about 3 lobs. And you're going to be like, what in the heck is... Oh, that's where he was throwing it to. Right. And JaVale is going to go get it because he's an ultimate cleanup man. What I thought he was going to be able to do and unlock, it's like his ability code got unlocked in the video game. And all he do is go get it.
Yeah, it's going to be a problem offensively for Utah. And unfortunately, offense is not the problem in Golden State. So, yes. So on to the Western Conference Finals for Golden State.
Right, on to the Western. And so if we stay in the West, San Antonio Rockets.
That's the matchup. That's what you want to see.
Yeah.
That's what you're looking for.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to LA, LaMarcus.
I don't know if we wanted to come down just to that.
Well, I mean, but I think it's going to come down. I think it's going to come down.
Spurs fan speaking to me. I'm just saying.
And only because, so Kawhi's going to do what Kawhi's going to do. Harden's going to do what Harden's going to do. At some point, Kawhi's going to have to guard James. And we know that at some point, the Spurs are going to have to rely on Kawhi Leonard to be the hero.
Yes.
So there are things that come into play. Tony Parker needs a slow down game. He's better when he's not having to run up and down the court. That's why he dominated in the Memphis series. Mm-hmm. Tony Parker not playing Memphis. The Rockets don't slow the game down, and he's going to have to deal with Patrick Beverley. Ariza. Mm-hmm. Again, I don't expect Ariza to fill it up and be,
but if he gets the right,
coming to Scottie Pippen,
right shots at the right time.
But even if Ariza and Danny Green is a wash, because look, Danny Green, Capella, Nene, that's not Dedmon and Gasol. In terms of Gasol obviously is the most skilled of the 4.
Right.
But in terms of what they need people to do, I mean, they got Gasol as a stretch 5. Are you a stretch 5 against the Rockets? I think the Rockets will love for Gasol to be firing up for 3s.
Right.
So what does that leave? Ryan Anderson and LaMarcus Aldridge. And we ain't even got to the bench for the Rockets. Because ain't nobody coming off San Antonio's bench putting up buckets like Gordon and Lou Will.
Gordon. Oh, Gordon.
Eric Gordon. Yeah. And Lou, ain't nobody.
The last series we saw a little bit from Patty. I'm not arguing for it, but we saw a little bit from Patty. But you're right, though, because there's some of my other bench players that come off that are the best bench players that I'm saying, like people like David Lee, whatever, they're not bringing that kind of offense.
They're not bringing that kind of, right. Where you got a guy who, like that, the offense just doesn't. Patty is the closest thing to a guy who can come in and shoot it. Now, what you will see, I think you'll see a little bit more from Mono in this series. This is a Mono series.
You have to.
Herky-jerky up and down.
So what you said about, I'll address with this with LaMarcus, and I'll say this, because I saw his first season prior to the pinky getting towed up, LaMarcus' shot was water.
Right.
And I don't know if that means that it went away when the pinky got messed up and it ain't never coming back, but what I see is vastly important. He has to get it in his spot, and he has to get it in rhythm. So whether or not he's dribble, fade away or whatever, now mind you, I'm still not saying that it's still not water. It's still not just automatic.
Right.
The problem is more times it's trashmatic, and that's automatic trash. It's been that way for a minute, but whenever I see him doing that, it seems like he's rushed. Like he's rushed out of the possession. I don't like that. But at the same time, the ball can't go into him and stall. It can't do that.
True.
Pop don't run the offense like that. But unless the players call, and if the players call for you, you better make it.
Right.
Because if I give it to you 5-6 times and you only make it once or twice, it's not coming back to you no more. It's just not gonna happen. But
when we already know if it ain't coming back to him, he ain't doing nothing. He ain't doing nothing on that glass, and he ain't playing nobody's defense.
Hey, whoever out there needs to give a pep talk to LaMarcus, y'all start talking to him. I hope y'all been talking to him already, because I still believe in LaMarcus. But my thing is that he gonna have to show up. This could be the series if you're gonna be guarded by Ryan Anderson. This is the series where you can go and you can say, this is why I earned the money that I earned. This is the reason why we brought you into San Antonio.
Put the all points bulletin out for LaMarcus already, because there's going to be plenty of times where he misses somewhere on I-10. Calling LaMarcus, we need you to show up.
And I need Ginobili, you going to get more player time. Don't turn the ball over. And Daniel Green, all I want, just hit, can I get 37%?
Calling all calls. Calling all calls for Danny Green. He's going to have a lot of work to do.
Toronto, Cleveland.
Sweep. Sweep.
I gotta pick up a Swiffle.
What's the difference between Toronto Raptors this year and last year?
The only thing do you think that Serge Ibaka makes a difference?
No.
Because I don't even know if he's as tenacious on the boards as Bismack, Biyombo.
No.
He's not.
No.
And then they don't give him the ball enough for him for a jumper to get wet.
Exactly.
And then, unfortunately, as much as I like him, he's so inconsistent.
Right.
The point guard.
Lowry. He's terrible in the playoffs.
And then I think, now the one point, DeRozan has elevated his game. I think he's elevated his game to where, like, I think if he was on that teeter last year to where it's like, do I see this guy, like, could he be an all-star for the remainder of his career? To me, he's taking a turn towards that. Yeah. To where for the next, consistently, he's going to be on all-star teams. You got to consider him for this, that, and the third. Unfortunately, without going the other way.
Mr. Mid-range.
Mid-range, he can get the buckets. Yeah. But they are going to have to get Valanciunas. He's going to have to play.
Yeah.
He's
not. He's just not. Like, he's not going to be a factor in this series. He's too slow.
Yeah, well.
And the one thing that you would want Valanciunas to do, offensively, he's probably more skilled than Tristan Thompson.
Right.
But all Tristan Thompson asked to do is play defense and rebound.
Right. So it's not
neutralized.
Right.
No.
Right.
Look, not a sweep because Cleveland's defense has been terrible all season. And yeah, they swept the Pacers, but they also gave up more than 100 points a game against the Pacers.
Right.
So I mean, their defense is terrible. What you will have if they get swept, which I'm not saying is out of the question, the reason will be is because Cleveland's offense is too prolific. Mm-hmm. The best player on the planet still plays for that team, and Kyle Lowry is not helping DeMar DeRozan offensively.
Right.
If Toronto's not hitting shots and Cleveland's hitting shots, it'll be another Utah Golden State where Toronto's just not giving enough offense.
Right.
And that's going to be a problem. This is a problem. But no,
I mean,
Toronto's not going to do enough.
No, I mean, of course. So if that's the case in the East, we looking at well, it was kind of a toss-up. We really didn't say necessarily who had the advantage out of Washington and Boston.
It's going to be a push. Now I said 5. It's going to be a push because you just don't know about injuries, and it's going to be back and forth. And
because Isaiah Thomas did lose a tooth, that might mess his jump up.
No, he didn't mess it up. No.
I guess they got to knock out the whole front row for him, I guess, to have him.
They may have to just knock him out.
So we're gonna have Cleveland and of course, obviously, the winner between Boston and Washington. Like I said, I picked Washington, but we'll see how that go. Does either one of those teams have a chance of beating Cleveland to get to the finals?
I think Washington has a better chance than Boston. But I also think that Washington needs to be 100% healthy. Right. Especially in the Cleveland series because Kevin Love struggles against Markieff Morris. He just does.
Right.
And that Markieff Morris is a guy that can get out there and guard him on the 3-point line. He's somebody that's big enough to kind of hold him back from those boards. But I mean, look, we didn't address it. I addressed it on Facebook the other day. Shout out to Avon Jordan. But the idea of LeBron and Cleveland tanking games to be in this position where they face the Pacers and now they get Toronto to then have to deal with either one of those teams. You kind of have to consider. And there was some back and forth with a couple people, and it was like, oh well, LeBron, that's cowardice. Like I don't want to hear about him being great when you. I mean, but in other avenues of life, we calling that business. That's strategy.
That's straight strategy. This is chess, not
we can talk all day long about the king and how he ducking the West and he got to stay in the East. If I had an easy route to get somewhere and it was guaranteed as long as I did my job, bruh, I'm taking that all day long. I'm not dealing with them juggernauts in the West if I don't have to. Until I get to the finals, and then may the best team win.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Okay, so Cleveland obviously going back to the finals.
I just don't see anybody like really pushing them out of that spot.
So over in the West, who of course we got Golden State coming out beating Utah, whatever. That's just about what that is. Nothing you can do about that. So Houston, San Antonio, most compelling matchup probably the second round. Is it a push? Now, for those out there who don't know, like I said before, I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan. I'm a native of San Antonio. Now, although he's a native of Houston, Texas.
I can't stand the Rockets.
He can't stand the Rockets, so at least we'll get some impartiality. And I'm impartial enough to where I won't act like a homer. So my question is, who comes out the series?
Man. I just don't like the hero ball in San Antonio. I don't like those patches where it seems like they're not getting enough offense. They're clearly the smarter team. They're the better team in terms of how basketball should be played. But if the Rocket shots are falling,
it's going to be a problem for 7 games.
Man, and that's the thing. It's like they shoot enough to where you say to yourself, "Oh, they can't shoot that well for 7 games." But I don't even think they're trying to shoot well. They're just shooting. They shoot themselves into games, sometimes out of games. But they still have James Harden, and they got an ability to play some half court basketball, which is not something that they really had a lot over the last several years.
So for me, what it looks like a little bit, and I'll say it like this. Phoenix 2.0. Why? Because it's a Mike D'Antoni team. I don't trust Mike D'Antoni's offensive strategy. I just don't. That volume piece, that don't work for me. Now, this is the only difference. He has Steve Nash, but now he has James Harden. And so now you talking about this lefty bearded fool out here on the arc shooting lights out, but then if he ain't feeling it, he gonna Euro you to the basket.
Bruh.
And if your defensive rotation is not on point, it's going to be a problem. Yeah. If you're not able to trap him, double him, work through that pick and roll to keep him out there on the arc, which again, you still picking your poison because he might shoot your eyeball out, but it's gonna be a problem. And I don't know. I don't like the hero ball. Shout out to people who was on the social media responding. My boy Overdose the Realist. He was telling me that he didn't have a problem with Kawhi Leonard handling the ball. Yeah. I have a problem with it because he's not groomed as a primary ball handler. I had issues with sometimes. I don't have a problem with him getting the ball, making the move to the basket.
Right.
If he's defended well, when he was kicking them passes out, they were so off target. They were either taking it out of rhythm, so the ball person catching it couldn't just go into a jumper, or it was just too awkward. It was almost a turnover, and those possessions matter. So,
he still got a lot of work to do when it comes to being that type of facilitator. But when you have a guy like Tony Parker against Memphis who was able to be effective, then it takes that pressure off, and then Kawhi can get the ball and make a quick move and not have to, got to wind the clock down, shake and bake, because it's more shake than bake, and it's just really awkward when he's got to kind of dribble himself into a shot. And that's a hard one to pick just because you're not really sure about the peripheral players and what you're going to get from them.
So then I ask the same question like I asked in the East. Regardless who comes out of that series, do either one of those teams have enough to possibly beat Golden State?
Legitimately, no.
Especially with Durant being healthy. And I hate to even say that because I'm going to root and I'm going to live and die with the Spurs. It's going to be what it is. But I wasn't totally mad at Durant for going to Golden State. Right. I understand the basketball decision. It made it too much like a video game, but them dudes are poised. I mean, they're poised. It's nothing. It's just really not a lot you can do with them cats.
Yeah, it's tough. And I think when he got hurt, the emergence of these guys on the bench to be able to come in and now they feel confident. So they're not as deep as they were last year, but I think that these guys, the Clarks, McCall, these guys, and like I said, JaVale McGee. And what we thought we were going to get from him, he's doing way more than that. These guys got a lot of confidence playing with Curry, playing with Thompson, playing with Draymond. Like, they understand where they need to be on the court. They understand the type of basketball they need to play. That was helpful when you add a Durant back into the mix. Like, those guys don't lose that confidence. So it's going to be tough. I mean, what we thought we were going to see, we're probably going to end up seeing Cleveland and Golden State, which is fine. It'll be compelling. I'm going to root for the Spurs against the Rockets because I like the free coffee in San Antonio. Shout out to Valero in the corner store. I go get it every single time the Spurs win in the playoffs. I'm not ashamed because I'm not tied to the Rockets and they're delusional fans because they're worse than Spurs delusional fans.
Oh, my God. So many of us, we went to school with a lot of people from Houston, and I'm already preparing my social media feed for it. It's going to happen. I'm not going to try to pick any sides. It's going to happen.
And those guys be like... At Bowski,
shout out.
He's not delusional. He been there for a while.
Right. He
ride or die. He's not delusional.
Right.
But I ain't gonna ever let Houston fans forget Choke City. Oh yeah, before y'all start putting up them Clutch City signs, it was Choke City. You remember the series in Phoenix before the Mario Ellie 3? Yeah, Yeah, Choke City. I remember it well. Y'all was chanting it. At least delusional Spur fan gonna ride or die until the end. Or not you Rocket fans. Y'all quick to jump off, you fair weather fan. I'm with you, Bowski. I ain't trying to fool with them either. Don't jump on the bandwagon now. I'm with you. I'm watching them from afar.
It gets hard because we get into arguments about quote unquote what city is better. And Houston is it's not San Antonio. San Antonio's not Houston. I'll just put a plea out there for this too. If y'all ever see me getting on the side of the Spurs, don't group me with our delusional fans. I mean, all of my San Antonio natives, all of them, particularly those that love to drink beer, whatever, and put the murals on the back of your car, paint the side of your car.
The flags. Why you got 4 flags on your car?
I get it. I get it. I really do. That's not me. I'm not delusional. I had somebody tell me that the best Spur of all time was like Manu Ginobili. I shut the conversation down. Just stop talking. I love Ginobili. He's not the best Spur of all time, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Anyway, we both got delusional fans on that side. We're going to be ready at riding it down with that. We'll make sure that we post when games are played, if it's something compelling. So be looking out for that on the Unprofessional Facebook, my personal Facebook. If y'all know me and his, just put it up on there. Please comment, because if you say something, it'll give us a little something to talk about, something we may have missed anything. I don't care what you say. Just keep it clean. We kind of a family type show type.
We don't want to block you. Because that's lame. Nobody wants to do that. Unfollow you.
Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to do that. But yeah, definitely do that, especially while we establishing everything else like on Instagram and Twitter. Once we get there, we'll let y'all know about that. But until for right now, Facebook, YouTube, go ahead and comment, hit it up. Like I said, this is episode 1. Anything else you wanna?
Nah, man. Criticism is always welcome. But if you talk about some of the stuff like, oh, y'all need to do this with the lightning, y'all need to do that, definitely will leave you with the bank account number so that you can go and make that good deposit.
Yeah, because right now you see that shadow right there. It ain't bothering nobody. You gotta listen to what we saying. But yeah, man, Unprofessionals, episode 1 in the bag. You know, it's just kind of long. We might break it up a little bit, but either way,
send out a snippets.
Either way, always, it's Slim
and Caesar.
Holla at your boy, Unprofessionals. You know what it is.